Welcome to another edition of Pop the Chart. My name is Corey. I'm host of Pop the Chart, and I'd like to welcome you to the WISeKey WKEY Live NFT Webinar Special. That's right. We're going to be covering WISeKey here, following on the stock chart as well as the webinar. It's going to be a lot of fun. The leading trusted non-fungible token event going to be broadcast via a Zoom call. Yes, that's right. From WISeKey, I signed up for it, and I'm going to provide it for you, all you NFT investors out there, to be able to check it out right here. By the way, like I said, my name is Corey, host of Pop the Chart. First and foremost, I am not a financial advisor. Invest in the market at your own risk. You have to make your own financial decisions. However, I will give you the most educated information that I could give you, so keep that in mind. So, WISeKey closed yesterday, $7. It's 63 cents, up 2.69%, already up 1.44% in the pre-market as we get ready for the WISeKey event. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of people on the call. It's very interesting. They're going to be talking about the NFT that they're going to be sending to space with the Falcon 9 rocket next month. So I'm excited to learn about that and a whole lot more. Oh, right here on Pop the Chart. By the way, so you know the call is set to go live at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm already set up. It's already on your screen, waiting for the webinar to go live. And so as soon as it goes live, it should pop up on the screen and we'll be ready to go. I'll have the audio for you and everything so that you can hear it. If I need to make it a little bit bigger, I'll make it bigger if I have to. So, but we'll have all the deets for you right here on the stream. All right, to give you a little tidbit of who's going to be on the webinar, all right? I'm going to pull the music back just a hair here. Anyway, so who's going to be on the webinar? We got Carlos Moreira, CEO and founder of WISeKey. He's going to be on there. We're going to have Trent McConaughey, founder of Ocean Protocol, Ashok Arenadiv, director of professional services at Casper Labs. We're going to have Chris Booz, CEO and founder of Argo. We're going to have Sebastian Fonte, CEO and founder of Lexing, Julian Fernandez, CEO and founder of FOSSA Systems, Shauna Lee Lang, founder of Sacrosanct NFT, and Simon Schwerin, partner at Economy. So all the peeps gonna be on the Zoom call webinar here very, very soon. So I'm excited about that. It's gonna be really cool. We're gonna learn a lot about NFTs. We're gonna talk about NFTs. We're gonna talk about, like I said, the thing that they're sending up to space, the NFT to space. They're also going to talk about the launch of the trusted NFT.io, as well as I believe it's like the WISe.ART. They're talking about it and a whole lot more, all right here on the stream here coming up. So make sure you share the link out. Let everybody know. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Come on. Good morning. I know it might be a little early for a few of you, but hey, let them know. Say, come on in. This is an interesting event, especially if you're an NFT investor, because you can learn a lot about NFTs and what's going on with that in the market. So it's the reason why I signed up for it. I saw it and I was like, you know what, this is going to be really interesting. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Webinar coming up in just a few minutes. So yeah, so anyway, during the webinar, by the way, WISeKey and experts will discuss technology behind the launch of this first ever non-fungible token NFT from space, a PocketPod deployer developed by FOSSA Systems. It will launch in June of 2021 aboard a Falcon 9 rocket by SpaceX. So we're going to be talking about SpaceX as well as the FOSSA Systems, the launch in 2021. So this is going to be a really interesting call. So another thing, so for those of you that might typically come in and say, hey, get ready for the market open with me, with my show or whatever, and my typical average, we might be a little late running into the open, but believe me, I will get that to you as well, information if you need it. I know AMC yesterday went to the moon, so that was a big deal, so we're following it. It's kind of fell down a little bit, back down today, you know, back closer to where it was at, but it's still technically up 6.24% in the pre-market, but we're also following WISeKey right now. I said it's on the 1 minute chart right there on your screen so that you can watch it and keep updated. And so we'll have that, and then like I said, sometime here, probably I'd say next you know, less than 10 minutes will probably be they'll be logging in. 10-15 minutes will be logging into the webinar here. You'll start seeing people pop up whatever on the Zoom call here, so we'll have that for you. All right, I'm gonna pull the music back here a little bit. Again, hit up the live chat. You're more welcome to hit the live chat. Say hi, introduce yourself. All right, so I know we had some issues with the live chat yesterday, so I popped it out to make sure that it is working today, so it should ideally work. So feel free to introduce yourself, share out the link, let some people know. We got about 20 minutes until the live webinar right here on the stream. I mean, I'm so stoked. I've been stoked about this because it's a lot of cool information. We're talking about space here. We're talking about NFTs. We're talking about how WISeKey can be the future of the technology that and how that the stock price could potentially increase based on information. So there's a lot of deets in here that could lead to giving us some more information on WISeKey and our investment there. I am in WISeKey and I'm excited to learn more about it. Keep in mind that this is coming to you live from Switzerland, so overseas, so they're gonna be over Switzerland. So here's the thing: it's 9 a.m. our time, but it's like 3 p.m. Central European time over there. So they're like way ahead of us. Like they're gonna be saying good afternoon, and we're gonna be like, yo, it's good morning. Like we just woke up. Come on now. So, but big time difference. But again, they're gonna do it through this via Zoom call. Looks like here, and so we'll have that for you. Alright, sharing this out on Stock Tweets. Just let some people know, say, come on in. I don't know if my previous post actually worked for some reason. It wasn't showing up. Yeah. All right. 15 minutes. We got 15 minutes until the webinar. I was watching. We're watching my AMC. That's why we watching AMC, and it's actually fallen down to hit a low of 1452. It's flirting with that 1450 line, so it's come down pretty hard. And it's down. Look at this. It's at 4% now. It's about to break 1450. It broke it. It's actually headed down. Three. It was at 3%. It's coming down really hard right now in the pre-market. Yeah, if we look at it, I'm gonna take a look at it just real quick off the. Oh, here we go. We're actually getting into the call here. So let's see if we can. Might have to. All right, let me pull this off screen to fix this. There we go. Should be starting anytime. But yeah. Hey, see, took a hit. Keeps kicking me back out. I will bring it over here in just a moment. It's well, here we go. Should be good now. Why does it keep doing this? It just keeps kicking me out, so I'm just gonna sit there until it kicks back in. As soon as it kicks in and we get it ready to go, then I'll bring it over. So we're setting about close to about almost 6 minutes, probably 6 minutes and some odd seconds, whatever, some change. And so I've got the webinar just keeps like it kicked me out a couple times, so I don't know what's I don't know if it's just they're just trying to get it all set up or whatever, but we'll see. It says please wait, it'll begin soon, so we'll see if maybe they reset it or I don't know. It's set to go at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so. Sounds like someone, Sean, said some change. Good morning, Sean. How you doing? Hey, yo, Sean, I set up some options on Airbnb, FYI. I set up some options on Airbnb. I think there's a they're gonna make an announcement. It's for the May 28th date, because the 24th, which is this coming Monday. So basically on Monday, on the 24th, they're supposed to be making some big announcement on Airbnb, and so I set up some calls, because it's like the lowest it's like ever been right now, and they're supposed to be making some announcement that is like completely like the biggest update to their to Airbnb like in 12 years or since they started or whatever. So like I'm wondering if they're gonna add in like hotel chains or something. So I feel like there's a good chance that by the on the 24th that stock could go at least back to back to like 150. I think I put 155 as my call. $155 right now. It's like 130 or something like that. So it's only got to move like $20. But I was sitting there like I just don't know. It looked like a good opportunity. I just kind of feel like, and I did some of the calculations, and I think, oh, he's at Airbnb. Okay, I got you. But yeah, we're getting ready to do the WISeKey call. It's setting it. I keep hitting the login button, and it's saying, if you are the host, please log in so you can start this webinar. So I'm waiting for the webinar to fully come up here on WISeKey. Set to go live at 9 a.m. So should be any moment now. I should be logging in here. It just pops me back out. I think it's just waiting for the thing to start. Sean says, I got some long puts for SPY about to dump. Oh. Yeah. Come on now. Come on, webinar, log in. Yeah, I think it's just waiting for the host to start it. 30%, I think, coming up soon. Yeah. Did you check out Airbnb? I want to see what you think. I'm picking your brain right now. He says, I'll see in 1 second. Oh, yeah. You'll go look at it. Go pull it up. I think it's $155 calls is what I got set to go in right now. I mean, obviously the order hasn't processed yet. It processed when market opens, but when the market opens. Well, it keeps kicking me out. We're 1 minute until it should be starting any moment. Waiting for the webinar here. It's yeah, Should be any moment. This is 9 a.m. Eastern. Here it goes. Joining webinar. We're going to turn the audio down so we can hear.
Okay, attendees are joining. 1 minute more, and once we have enough critical,
Here we go. All right, there's the CEO. That's Carlos Moreira.
Okay, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WISeKey webinar on non-fungible tokens. So this is the first webinar that we organize with our partners. So I have the pleasure to have with me a list of experts that are going to be debating and discussing together with us and you as well through Zoom, issues related to non-fungible token technology, blockchain, identity management, cybersecurity, cryptocurrencies, and everything that needs to be known in order to operate in this complex, but at the same time, exponential sector, which is the cryptocurrencies and the non-fungible tokens. We have a list of impressive participants from different companies, so I would like to just maybe mention them, and they're going to introduce themselves. So I have the pleasure to have with us today Trent McConaughey, founder of Ocean Protocol. I also have the pleasure to have Ashok Ranadiv, Director of Professional Services of Casper Lab. Chris Voss, founder of Arago and Chief Technology Officer of WISeKey. Sebastian Fanti, CEO and founder Lexin, a predominant Swiss lawyer. Julian Fernandez, CEO and founder of FOSSA Systems, a Spanish startup in the satellite business. Shauna Lee Lounge, a founder of Sacrosanct NFT, and Simon Schreering, partner at iEconomy or iEconomy. So welcome everybody to this event. As we doing WISeKey webinars, or focus has been always to create a debate about the things that they are important for each of us in our respective companies, and then discuss about the synergies that among of us we generate by just teaming together. So just as a disclosure, WISeKey has launched partnerships and they are announced. So all the information provided in this webinar is public information. We're a listed company. So all the information that you will be receiving is public information, not confidential information will be distributed. But we have the honor and pleasure to have established partnership agreements with Ocean Protocol, with the Casper Labs, and also with FOSSA Systems, Julian companies, on which, by the way, WISeKey has also become an equity investor. So maybe because we only have one lady, and I am very proud that that is the case with us, Shauna. And because Shauna is an NFT expert, very much focused on the luxury segment. Maybe you can give us your background, at the same time explain a bit about your company. So what I would like, if it's possible, each participant to take about 2 minutes introductions on your company, so what you do. And because obviously we have a lot of speakers and we don't want to stay too long. My objective is to cover everything within the next 70 minutes and leave 20 minutes as a wrap up and Q&A. So Shona, the floor is yours. You are mute, by the way.
Thank you so much, Carlos. I'm so happy to be here this morning. I am Shauna Lee Lang from Sacrosanct NFT. We are a full service art advisory specializing in NFT, NFT art, crypto art, and blockchain art, and merging the fields of art and technology. It's a very exciting time to be alive and an exciting time to be in this incredible field. My firm is focused presently on 3 initiatives that we're working on, and those initiatives really all hinge on securitization. They are, first of all, social tokenization as we move towards social tokens. Secondly, digital divide and ensuring access to the internet worldwide. And then thirdly is the piece about due diligence. And due diligence is so critical in the field of the art realm, art and cultural artifacts. Performing that due diligence and making sure one goes through the steps is what I hope to address today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shana. Thank you very much. So I would like to move now to Trend. As I mentioned before, we have a partnership agreement with them, and we are together deploying a NFT trading platform, which is going to be launched in a few weeks, together with a cryptocurrency that you can see in my background, which is a cryptocurrency that then we will explain a bit later during the webinar. So Trend, the floor is yours.
Sure, it's my pleasure to be here. Hi, everyone. And you know, Ocean is, as mentioned, it's a platform for exchanging data and IP. Been doing data and IP on blockchain since 2013 when we started Ascribe and built that out, targeting digital art. And it's been awesome to see that grow and evolve into what's now the NFT movement. So that's really wonderful to see the flourishing, all towards getting artists compensated and so on. And with Ocean, you know, we took the learnings from Ascribe, et cetera, and focused on IP. But as part of things, we basically built a platform that allows very good price discovery by leveraging all the tools of DeFi, fungible tokens, et cetera. And it works not just data, but other objects as well. And in working with WISeKey, WISeKey has developed excellent technology to connect to physical real-world objects, such as physical art, paintings, sculptures, watches, etc. And so combining that WISeKey technology with Ocean's technology for price discovery, AMM pools, all of that, and our upcoming direct ties to ERC 721, then this will be a very nice combination where I think it'll be really fun for users of that market, doing staking on physical paintings, etc., in an AMM type setting. So my pleasure to be here and engage with everyone here.
Thank you, Trent. Thank you. Yes, actually, I was also very impressed about your technical knowledge and your technical team, which is something that sometimes people don't understand the complexity behind these platforms, and in order to maintain them secure and reliable, they need a major player. So, I mean, this is not something that you just can do overnight and just say I am an NFT player. Once you understand what is behind all this, you will understand that that takes more than just hype to enter into this market. So another amazing player is Ashok with Casper Labs. Casper Lab is one of the fastest growing blockchain players. Their stock went ballistic last week. So Ashok, maybe you can introduce us Casper Lab and why you think this is going to be so disruptive in the future.
Yeah, really happy to be here with this panel of elite people talking about NFTs, which is the latest and the hottest trend here in the blockchain industry. Quick intro about myself. I've been with Casper Labs for about 2 years now. I'm the Director of Professional Services. Before Casper Labs, I was with Google for 12 years, and prior to that, Indian Navy for 20 years. I retired as a commander. By education, I'm a nuclear engineer. Casper Labs is a proof of stake blockchain, which is basically representing the latest that can happen in the blockchain technology at this point in time. We launched our mainnet on 31st of March. It's going strong. We had our public sale of Casper tokens. We are on CoinList, and the token was listed as Carlos just mentioned just about 10 days back, and it's doing really well. However, the main thing about Casper is it's built for the new enterprises to come on board, right? So the whole focus of Casper has been to bring technology of blockchain for enterprise use cases, and I think NFTs have been instrumental in making that bridge. So far, blockchain mostly remained in the crypto circles, but NFTs are actually bridging that gap and bringing in new asset classes to blockchain and new marketplaces and new users. And Casper with the very feature-rich smart contracting platform is ready to kind of take on those new challenges. And we are already working with WISeKey and other enterprises to make that happen and to facilitate that shift.
Thank you very much, Ashok. Okay, so let's move a bit now to Simon. Introduce Simon, and also his very extended experience on cryptocurrencies and on everything that digital assets that he has been creating in the past. So Simon, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Carlos, for the opportunity. Yeah, I've been a digital asset investor for the past 5 to 6 years, and currently my day job is working with an advisory firm called Economy Partners. We work on the one hand with a lot of crypto startups, helping them very early on to design sustainable incentive systems. On the other side, we also work with hyperscaling companies moving into Europe to navigate complex tech policies. So companies like Spotify and others used to be our clients. Regarding the WISeKey and tokenomics, we are helping currently to basically design the trustee coin in a way that is oriented so that every stakeholder of the platform is sufficiently incentivized. So the beauty of WISeKey that I can see from being an NFT collector and investor for a longer while myself is that we're actually building a use case that really bridges NFTs to the physical world, to actual art, to actual goods, and doing so in a compliant manner. I think is really truly fascinating. What NFTs, because they're digital, enable us to do is actually to create secondary markets that benefit the original sellers and creators of these art pieces, which means that an artist potentially gets a chance to participate in any future revenue that an art piece for him is creating. The same goes for other art collectors selling art. And this is quite, I think, an interesting thought also for the creative world, but also any NFT sellers with regard to luxury goods. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to helping to design an ecosystem and a new NFT potential marketplace that really makes everyone benefit from this new era for NFTs that WISeKey is now starting, I think. And I'm really looking forward to see how this matures also with the other strong players here as part of this, I guess, consortia, if you want to call it something like this. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Simon. It is also a pleasure for me to have you with your experience as part of what we call, actually it's a consortium partnership. So as this is all based on also new legislation, new laws, governments are not yet grasping all the complexities of this new crypto world emerging ahead of us. So we have here one of the leading digital lawyers in Switzerland, Sebastian. The floor is yours.
Hello everybody, my name is Sebastian Fonti. I'm the founder and partner for Lexing Switzerland, which is part of the Lexing network. We are now 27 partners in the world working on NFT, but on all emergency in such topics. And now I'm working on different subjects in Switzerland because nobody has really worked hard on NFT, and I have searched before this conference a lot of databases which lawyer has already worked on NFT, and nobody has published interesting papers at the moment. There are a lot of questions that have to be solved, and for the moment you have only these questions without answers. I hope that all my colleagues will work on these topics so that we will have such solutions to propose to everyone who is going forward with this technology. For the moment, we know that there are some subjects that are interesting: intellectual property, competition law, and the durability of the protection about intellectual property. But no court has already taken any decision in Switzerland, because it will depend on the country where you are, and perhaps there will be a forum shopping like for other questions that are emergent questions. And I hope that we will find here in Switzerland a way to promote this technology without having legal rules that are too high level. We need to let technology find the way to prosperity without having too many law rules. In other cases, we have had in Switzerland a lot of comprehension for the people who are developing such technologies. We have it for the Bitcoin, we have it for the blockchain. In our country, you will find interesting legal framework that is really pragmatic. And you can come here, found a company, and try to get a solution that will be promoted after in the whole world without having too much money to put on the legal rules. And that should be the same for NFT. So that I hope that our parliament will find a solution such as the solution that has been found by the FINMA, which is our financial authority, regulation authority. And I hope that we will have a lot of people coming here, because we have an art market that is really important. Even in the Port Franc in Geneva, you have a lot of beautiful pieces, and I hope that for art, it's really important with NFT. We will find another solution that will be a digital solution for a market that is perhaps safe in our country, which is a neutral country, and not only safe about politics and the way you can come here because it's safe about health and so on, but even if for the legal rules. So I'm working on these solutions that are emerging now, and I try to propose new rules that are light rules, so that the people, they can go forward without having too much to be attentive about the rules that they need to respect. I think we need to develop the products and after to see which are the risks. Because if you take the risk at the beginning, you won't do anything because it will cost too much. So we need to go and to see what happens. And according to the experience we do, we should perhaps change the rules to have another scope of protection of the consumers and so on.
Thank you, Sebastian. Yes, absolutely. I think that also expands to the European Union legislation and the American legislation, and without even considering the rest of the world. So we are really in new territories here. We'll come back later in specifics on the technology integration into legislation and which one goes first, and how we can handle that dispersity. So giving the floor now to Julian. He's not an NFT expert, but he's working with us to send the first ever NFT from space down to the Earth station. So he's the founder and CEO of FOSSA Systems, an amazing startup in Spain. Floor is yours, Julian.
Great, thanks Carlos for the introduction, and really it's an honor for me to be here with the rest of incredibly talented and experienced panelists. As you said, I do have a bit of experience with NFT, but really our main area of focus and of interest is satellite systems and satellite connectivity. But it's interesting, and we'll discuss this a bit later, to see how satellites can link to NFTs in this specific role. In fact, we've been working now with WISeKey on the WISe.SAT, which will be delivering secure IoT communications. And really what we do as a company is develop very robust and decentralized platforms for space. And this is interesting in the sense of, you know, how digital decentralization has come with blockchain and how we can bring it on a global level by using satellites. So as FOSSA Systems, now we're established in Spain. We're a startup now with around 11 employees. And what we're dedicating to is launching these Pico satellites into low Earth orbit with rockets like the Falcon 9 by SpaceX to deliver connectivity solutions for a specific end case. And in this case, what we'll discuss a bit later on is how we're bringing NFTs to space.
Great, thank you, Julian. This is actually going to be a Wolfers. I'm getting emails and tweets saying you're doing that even before Elon Musk, so it's a reference for the team. So so now we would like to introduce you, Chris Voss. You know him already. He has been many of the Zooms since the beginning of the year. Chris and I, we know each other for many years, and the World Economic Forum in Davos, and we just decided last year to merge our companies. So now Arago and WISeKey are only one company. He's one of the leading experts on AI in the world. He also advised Madame Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, and the German government on AI and everything related to AI. And in the last 6 months, we managed to totally disrupt WISeKey and Arago by just merging both technologies. It makes so much sense. And our vision is to create the truly first ever European platform. We believe Europe is not yet ready to fight against other superpowers on the internet, and we need to be an option, obviously. Otherwise, we're going to depend on that. So anyway, give the floor to Chris to give us his insight.
Thank you very much, Carlos. And I'm not going to get into geopolitics now because then the webinar is not long enough. So much to discuss, right? And I've just written an article about it. Anyway, I am deeply involved in AI. I've been doing it for 25 years. I'm now the CTO of WISeKey. And the great thing we're doing at the moment is to put together a marketplace for NFT that can be white labeled for various brands, collectors, luxury good owners, artists, museums, and so on. And because in this world there is so much hot air around NFTs, right? Sometimes you think that why do we bother at all? But I believe that NFTs is a very important connection between the physical and the virtual world. And art is a great place to start because it can involve everybody, and not everybody understands that there's two worlds right now, even if they use both worlds. And what we do now with this platform is to make sure that the real world and the virtual world are actually firmly connected, that there is provenance, that no one can claim that there is an object that doesn't exist, or duplicate objects that should not be duplicated, and all these kind of things are part of the DNA of the platform that we're building. Of course, we have all this experience in handling large transactions, lots of data from the AI world. So the platform is going to launch in the next few weeks, as already announced, including the currency. And it's going to take a multi-chain approach here, because we believe that it is really important to get the actual NFT with the provenance and with the proper contracting stored, and have the market where these things are traded separated from this. And this is what we're currently building. I'm not sleeping much, but it's a fantastic time.
Absolutely. I think we covered well the first round of introductions, and just maybe as for WISeKey point of view, we are a cybersecurity company very focused on IoT. In the last year, we have done several strategic acquisitions. We acquired a semiconductor company in France with the name WoltIC Inside Secure, which help us to start to think about how can we basically authenticate an object in a way that is non-reputable. Means that object, once it's authenticated, the provenance of that object cannot be disputed. And because WISeKey cybersecurity technology has been used for very high-end applications such as e-voting, issuing national identity cards, KYC compliant for financial institutions. So that technology, which is based on PKI public infrastructure, was designed to handle this kind of complexity. So I think the breakthrough is that we just say, okay, if we are good in certifying a passport or identity card, we should be as good in certifying an object and digitalize the provenance of that object, PDF signing and time stamping, all that process. And sometimes it's very vast, depending the object that you're going to NFT, and then transfer that provenance and that digital certification and digital identity into the NFT. So the NFT becomes basically the digital twin of the original object. Obviously, you can also go 100% digital, and this is fine too if you just create a digital artwork and you want to also be sure that the author digitally signs the artwork. So the same functionality can be done also in the digital files and not only in physical files. But that has been the breakthrough. So suddenly art galleries and museums and collectors starting to call us to say, wow, I don't need to destroy the original to do an NFT, right? Which was the original vision when one of the first NFT was launched by Bansky. Then you have to destroy the original. It makes absolutely no sense, obviously. So yeah, this technology, it doesn't need to destroy the original. You just need to create a digital twin. And the good news is that then we realized that this is also a huge business opportunity for brands. WISeKey has digitally identify over 2.5 million watches historically. We have very big brands and they are using our technology for the authentication of watches, making the watch impossible to counterfeit, and also establish a relation between the watch and the owner. So these brands, when they call us back and say, hey, if we can offer the NFT together with the watch, it's actually an investment that the client does with us, not anymore a cost. It's not only buying a watch that you will keep in your safe or in your vault to hide from everybody because it's so expensive and you're going to be concerned of somebody stealing that watch. You can still show that digital twin on the internet, enjoy the beauty of that watch, displaying the emotional relation that the watch has with the owner. And this is what we did actually with Jean-Claude Biver. There was a world first. Jean-Claude, it was the founder of Hublot, the founder of many, CEO of many luxury watch companies. He was the head of LVMH watches. And with him, we did actually the first ever Hublot original, and we did an NFT. And that was the press captured that message. And we have done it later with Jacobs and with other brands. So this message that you can now bring a physical objects to the metaverse, it's actually a breakthrough. And this is what this panel is here to discuss, is that what is this metaverse? How big is going to be that metaverse in the future? Can we monetize that metaverse? And basically also, why now the NFT is happening? Maybe I can open the discussion with you, Trent, because you have been following this in detail. Why this is happening now and not 10 years ago? I mean, why this is the moment where this industry is really taking off?
Thanks. I can maybe give a partial answer. I'm not sure anyone really fully knows. But so in 2013, back then, the only real application of blockchain was store of value, which was Bitcoin. And there was a bunch of other coins that already forked out, like Litecoin and a few. And there were some very nascent blockchain projects, like Ascribe, which we did, basically a digital art platform, and a few others kind of in things like proof of existence.com or whatever it was, and a few others, right? So we actually got to usage of 10,000 plus users, 40,000 works back in 2014, 2015, which was actually, looking at it now, it already looks like good traction. Back then, the only comparison was Web 2. And by Web 2 standards, these numbers were very bad, actually. So there was potential for traction then, but that said, every time you wanted to teach people about this, you'd have to, it would be a big lift in terms of understanding, because you'd have to teach about blockchain, which usually meant explaining Bitcoin. And then just that on its own would take, it takes a long time to really truly get, right? Now there's a lot more people who get that, which is good. And that was probably the first thing. And, instead of, I don't know, back then, maybe a few 100,000 owners of crypto, and now there's, I don't know, the recent number is 10 million plus, at least 4 million MetaMask users, for example. So we're talking, at least a couple orders of magnitude more people. And besides that, I think, Ascribe actually had a quite good GUI. It was more Web 2-ish. You didn't have to get any crypto wallet or anything. So that helped a lot, right? A lot of the projects in between did aim towards getting crypto wallets without, abstracting things away. And there's pros and cons. The main pro, of course, is full sovereignty, right? Ascribe had that, but there's a transformation in between of generating private keys, etc. So there was basically some friction in a few places, lack of understanding. So if you think about what's happened now is, the first round of NFTs that kind of took off was 2017 with CryptoKitties, and a little bit CryptoPunks before, but CryptoKitties really, cats clogged up Ethereum in 2017. These days it seems to be dogs, but that's a different story. From 2017 to now, I think there's been a lot of improvements in understanding of how to do good blockchain UX that makes sovereignty really clear, right? So some of the the teams out there working on NFT have really focused on good UX, and also for DeFi, right? Like when I use DeFi for acquiring tokens or for doing staking, whatever, it's so clean because you can go in and out very easily. You connect your wallet, that's it, right? It's much easier than traditional Web 2 UX where you have to log in and log out, right? That's very, very nice. And once you kind of cross that threshold of, install MetaMask or whatever, it really takes you a long way. So, so there's that as one major incentive, that the technology got better, the number of people that understand blockchain got better, the UXs got better, and they got mature as well for DeFi and for NFT. And finally, who knows when this would have happened, but there is sort of more money sloshing around. And if you think about who the early NFT collectors are, they're crypto collectors, including the crypto rich, right? And so they're happy to spend 1 million, 5 million, 10 million plus to buy an art piece. And once you are starting to spend 10 million plus to buy an art piece, that hits the mainstream media. We can't ignore this, right? So to summarize, technology got better, UX got better, DeFi, for DeFi and NFT, people's understanding got better, and finally, the crypto rich became the very first market of any real size, big enough to get mainstream attention. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Trent.
Maybe I
fully agree. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe I could add, yeah, that's an incredible, list, it summarizes the transformation. Maybe I can add two more things that I'm seeing now happening. One is, you see, the smart contracting platforms are becoming easier to use. So right now, even now, most of that is focused on Solidity. And if you count number of Solidity developers, they are in thousands, right? Maybe 10,000 Solidity developers. New smart contracting platforms like Casper Labs are now enabling any language that can compile to WebAssembly to be used for developing smart contracts. That suddenly liberates your constraints, and now you're dealing with millions of developers who've been into this developing, top-notch software for decades, are now able to come onto the ecosystem and help it grow. That's one thing that I've seen. And the second thing is the real world enterprises have taken notice of how NFTs could be used to facilitate their real world business cases. And we are seeing that in supply chain, we are seeing that in patent management and stuff like that. So these are things where the real money is now started flowing, in the blockchain technologies getting put in place in all those real world applications, which is making a lot of difference.
So yeah, I fully agree. It's the convergence between technology, money, and awareness. This is already happening in the year 2000. I was there. WISeKey was 99, right? So I was there when this convergence happened already at that time, where technology, money, and attention, international attention, got together in a synergetic way, and that created the dot-com revolution and collapse at the same time in the same year, 1 year after, right? So maybe on that line, why an artist, Shona? Why an artist gonna do an NFT? A lot of artists which are not technology at all, this is people, and they are more emotional, and they're using a brush and a painting, and they in many cases they hate technology. Why suddenly they have been awakened to that revolution, and they are actually the most active industry at the moment on NFT, although NFTs are going to emerge in many other sectors. Art is actually driving the NFT revolution now. What is your observation on that, Shana?
Carlos, it's been such an interesting time, because with the advent and rise of cryptocurrency generating so much hype and attention, naturally it's a fall over to many disciplines to look and examine how can we participate in this new marketplace. To me, I see currently in the nascent phase of NFTs, artists that are joining the NFT bandwagon on multiple platforms are doing so because, let's face it, it's a money grab at the moment. It's a crazy money grab and a free-for-all. However, that does not deter from the possibility that NFT holds when one approaches it in a responsible, realistic, legislated, regulated fashion to protect everyone. And as an artist, traditionally, you're in an environment where the marketplaces, the traditional marketplaces, do not allow for one to expand truly their artworks or their own profile or their reach in multiple nations. NFT is uniquely situated that it eliminates those barriers and allows for an artist to participate in the international global scale, participate on multiple platforms, participate creatively in ways that they may never have before. And look, at the end of the day, it really comes down to what I have observed so far, two important factors. The first is relationship, that we truly do seek relationship with artists. We want to understand what drives that creative force and how to harness it, how to utilize it for the future. So that's important. And the second piece is the piece about trust. The art world traditionally, and the NFT world too, as it turns out, has some challenges in terms of trust. You know, we have to examine certificates of authenticity, we examine provenance, we examine previous sales, and we look at rarity considerations in the art and cultural market. Those will all transition into the NFT market as well. So I think it's about trust, relationship, and I think it's also about access. I'm interested to hear what other people have to say.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Yeah, maybe Chris, we are getting questions on the, by the way, we have about 127 participants on this call. So if you guys want to ask questions, you can use the question and answer Q&A option in Zoom, and we will be addressing those questions to the experts. So we have here a very basic question, which I think is a question that we need to answer before even develop. How can I make my art an NFT? I mean, this is a you know, a question that becomes redundant every time, because artists, as I mentioned, they are not necessarily savvy in terms of technology, and they want to use the opportunity. Maybe I give that to Chris, and at the same time, maybe explain to us what is an NFT, you know, and what is a platform selling NFTs.
Okay, that's going to be a hard one putting all of this, but let's start with how do you make your art an NFT? Basically, an NFT is a digital representation of something. And if we put art into it, it's a representation of art. So it becomes a digital twin of art. If you want to make your piece of art an NFT, then there's two paths. Right? The one path is you're just creating this piece of art. Then you would, in the physical creation, add an identity to this piece of art, typically a digital signature, a key, so that this piece of art has a kind of a birth certificate and it can be identified all over. This will be later used to identify and sign the piece of art when you have created a digital asset of that, so let's say a photo or a 3D model or whatever. And now the digital asset, photo, 3D model, plus its identity, plus the chain of provenance, plus all the contracts you want to give, all the rights you want to give to the owner of the digital piece, there will be minted together into an NFT so that it can't be changed and that it is totally clear what rights does who have, and that your asset is actually connected to the physical asset that is out there. If you don't have this, if you're, let's say you're having a grandmaster that is being sold, of course you can't add a chip or anything later to that piece of art. It would defy the piece of art. So here you need, you rely even stronger on the chain of provenance and the ability to sign by experts and curators that this piece of art is actually what it is. And then in this case, these signatures, this chain of trust, potentially signed by a notary digitally, will go into the NFT together with everything else. And that way, you know that this is really a piece of art on a digital representation of a piece of art that is existing in the physical world. If you just create it digitally, let's say you just create a digital piece of art, then you would incorporate the identity in the digital piece of art from the get-go, and it would be like you had a chip, but obviously everything is digital at that point. And that way you forever link this original piece to the digital piece that is out there. And by having the contracts, if they are executable automatically, then they'll be smart contracts. And if they're not executable automatically, then they're stored documents and validly signed documents that you can take to court. These contracts will say what that owner of the digital twin or the digital art is, NFT is allowed to do? Like, is he allowed to just look at it or print it just 5 times? Or is he allowed to do an advertising campaign with it? Is he allowed to monetize it? Will he have to share the monetization with someone, right? All these type of things you put in there. And the more contracts you put in there, the more restrictions you put in there, the lower the value of your art that you put out there, because you're controlling everything. And the fewer restrictions you put in there, the higher probably people will bid. I hope that was enough of an explanation, but I think it's
yeah, very good.
The path towards this will all happen on our platform. If you have a piece of art, we'll guide you through the steps that are necessary and in order to create an NFT for your piece of art.
Chris, thank you. You highlight a very interesting point, which is the I will call the convergence between the rule of law and the technology. When you're talking about smart contracts, this is the first question we get from our clients and say, okay, I want to do the NFT of my watch, but what I am giving actually, I mean, and if I buy that NFT, what I'm getting, and how can I reinforce that through, I mean, the smart contracts, you say, could say I can print or I can display the NFT in a virtual gallery. But Sebastian, maybe you're a lawyer and digital lawyer. How can you structure that? I mean, will be that something that you can go as detailed as you will do in normal law? You know, when you have an IP or a patent right allocation, is that the same process?
It's a little bit difficult to answer. I'm notary, I'm public notary too, you know. If I have bought something that's really expensive, like an NFT that has been sold for $69 million, I will have a double check, you know, like for other things, I'm buying assets that are really expensive. Nobody knows until when the rights on the art are valid, you know. Normally NFT is sensed to be eternal, you know, but the law about art, about the rights for the authors, the intellectual property are limited in the time. So this is the first challenge, because with these arts pieces, you have no limit of time. I have bought some years ago one Banksy, you know. I was so happy to have one Banksy in my office. Nobody knew that it was a real Banksy, but nobody could give me the guarantee that it was a real Banksy. Even the seller has told me, yeah, I make you a certification that means it's a real Banksy, but no insurance company took the risk to insure this piece. That wasn't really expensive, perhaps 8,000 Swiss francs. But for me, that was a problem. And I didn't keep this art piece in my office. I sent it back to the seller, saying, I have no guarantee, I cannot take the risk of non-insurance. And if someone is coming and perhaps it's the fire is in my building and anything else, earthquakes can happen. And what will I do? I have lost a lot of money, the art piece even, and so. And for the moment, you have no other rules that are rules in the time, like for other art pieces. So it doesn't work with NFT. We should change the rules, because if you have bought one art piece and you have paid a lot of money, you won't be happy to be in perhaps 80 years asked to pay a second time because the protection of the artist is only during for this time. I don't know what will happen. The first question is, when will the rights expire? When will they be stopped by something, by someone, or by one organization? So if I was a WIPO now, I should make a conference about all these topics. I should ask all experts to join and to find a convention about these assets. Another question that is really interesting is that I'm buying this NFT for $69 million, and I'm selling it in perhaps 1 year for $100 million. Should I pay taxes? In which country should I pay taxes? That's not solved. So there are a lot of problems. We speak about money laundering, we speak about tax, we speak about IP, we speak about competition law, because I could try to buy the most interesting art pieces. We could compete, Carlos. Perhaps we love each other, Banksy. We want to have the most incredible collection. we fight to get all art pieces. The prices are going up, and then in the end, our art pieces, they won't be in a museum because I don't want to share, perhaps, or they'll be. But who is taking the risk to insure it if I want to show them? Will the company insure it? It's a big problem. How could the company be sure that this is a right art piece? Who can give this guarantee? I think there is a lot of opportunities for all the people who can give these guarantees and who can certificate not only the value, but the reality of things, and that nobody has changed anything in the art piece, because if you change something, it's really difficult. I don't want to be too long, but I want to explain you something that has happened in Switzerland. We went to the court in Geneva because there was an artist, that's a really well-known artist in the world, who has sold one art piece to one guy who has paid a lot of money for it. But in the end, he put this art piece in a place where the people were undersigning their names. These were only famous people. They were politicians, artists, and so on. And the artist has asked us to go before the court to ask a lot of money to the man who has bought his art piece, saying you have changed my art and you should pay a lot of money for it. We found a solution, but it costs a lot of money. And that's another point that is really important to me. Should I change something in NFT? Or is it fixed for the whole life of the art piece?
Yeah.
We should find a solution, because if you don't find a solution, you cannot change anything. You have no rights at the moment. So our rules are not really in adequacy with what NFT are.
Yeah, fully agree. I think your point of having somebody like WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, reviewing the legal nuance about the NFT is totally necessary. Questions like if I do an NFT of a product I buy, like I will do it, eBay has announced an NFT platform. Do I need to ask permission to the brand to do the NFT of the product? Is that my product, or is that the brand product? I mean, there's totally a great area right there, because normally if you buy a product, I buy a very expensive jewelry or whatever, and I sell it on eBay, I don't need to go and ask permission to the brand. Is that NFT different? So obviously those are the questions that the users are asking now. And I think as soon as we have clarity on the legislation, that will be much better in terms to expand the use. And actually, that's one of the things this platform that we are launching is going to have is a higher dimension on the legal aspects associated to you selling into the platform, because we want our customers to be 100% sure that they are not violating the law by doing things that otherwise you might be doing. So on that, brings me to another very important area, is how I pay those NFTs. Do I use cryptocurrency? Do I use fiat? Is money laundering a problem, knowing that people can actually buy $100 million piece of art as a way of money laundering? And we know that the dark web, and I'm particularly, as I work as a cybersecurity expert on dark web issues, so I know how much dark money is being used by mafias and all kind of sort of issues in the society. How can we put a process that will reduce that risk? And this is maybe a good way to introduce TrustyCoin as the new cryptocurrency that we are launching, which is going to be associated to the launch of the Trust NFT platform. So Simon, maybe an overall view of the cryptocurrency market and why you think having a trusted coin it's a much better thing than just letting anyone to trade with anything.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. So like a quick overview, I think many of you that have kind of followed what happened in crypto in the last like 4 to 6 months or this year have been seeing that the prices have been going pretty ballistic, which I would say, or I would argue, and also because we have this discussion a lot between us investors, is probably coming from the flood of printed money through to COVID, but also the eventual increase of speed of digitalization that has drawn a lot of attention to potentially investing into new asset classes, not only from the retail side, but actually this time compared to the 2017 bubble burst and craziness, this time it is backed by a lot more in-depth fundamentals, which are potentially proven through actual corporates, larger corporates, professional money buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, even pension funds, small pension funds like Israel or New Zealand, dipping their toes into buying small portions, leveraging the portfolio with cryptocurrencies, legitimizing cryptocurrencies ultimately. And then there's another factor with companies like Coinbase, Coinbase IPO, so the first largest cryptocurrency exchange actually going into public markets, further legitimizing cryptocurrencies from an SEC point of view. But it also shows that, which is interesting again now with NFTs, but it also shows that regulators have come a long way in the last 3, 4, 5 years to actually do lay some groundwork for, I guess, more global joint efforts to kind of regulate these technologies. Now with DeFi and NFTs, we are facing new challenges. I agree there, it's really interesting topics that you raised, Sebastian, Fanti. But I think it's like, it's solvable. And I think there's lots of, like in the EU, there's the MiCA coming, like the markets for crypto asset regulation in 1 or 2 years, which will lay new groundworks. There's the FATF with regards to money laundering. So there's lots of these kind of topics, supporting the actual, I guess, innovation behind this by not slowing it down. This is always a difficult piece. So back in uni, I wrote my thesis on GDPR and blockchain regulation. So how does a regulation like GDPR influence a technology like blockchain, where everything is kind of transparent, it's hard to remove, right? Because it's immutable, but it still needs to be privacy compliant. And this is the same challenge that the battle that we always have, right? By providing regulation after the innovation came. And I think this will be the same with NFTs. And from my personal experience, I learned that most of these things are just kind of normal human, I guess, processes that have helped us form laws overall in the last 2000 years. And I think this will happen, the same thing will happen to all these new technologies that are more globally, I guess, interacting with each other. With regards to the trustee coin, I think, and the topics that you mentioned, so the way we're currently envisioning it, it's not finalized 100%, but the way we're currently envisioning it is that basically the WISeKey NFT marketplace will be kind of like a gatekeeper to compliance, right? This means that on the one hand, buyers as well as sellers will be fully identified under European regulation and KYC AML laws. Also, the reselling of NFTs will always have to be facilitated via the platform, right? So you can kind of perceive it, I guess, as an analogy if you're reselling an art piece and the gallerist who originally sold it has his black book to kind of verify the art piece together with his experts. That's the role that this marketplace is essentially trying to take as well, right? Because that's the only way we are for now seeing to make sure that all of these trades are regulated. We already have a lot of very open NFT marketplaces like OpenSea, Wearable, where it's a lot harder to kind of enforce these kind of practices, and where it's also a lot easier to then misuse it for money laundering or these kind of topics. So I think this is what we are currently introducing. With regards to the trustee coin, we are envisioning that also the NFTs will be bought within these with only trustee coins. So you potentially sign up to the platform, create your profile, verify as a potentially an investor with a specific amount of funds, because we are going to start with luxury goods with this NFT marketplace, and then you can buy packages for potentially some kind of market discounts of these trustee coins, which you can then use to buy NFTs. And during the auction, you will of course see a live US dollar or euro denominated price, so you know what you're getting into. But this, of course, again holds a few challenges with regards to how the trustee coin will be traded on open markets compared to the price differences that are going to be created through actually selling NFTs, right? So this is some interesting dynamics that we are still like modeling out and thinking about. Another interesting aspect with regards to NFTs is that they can actually potentially be fractionalized. So we're also thinking this would probably be like a further step down the road, not for the first MVP, but what about allowing larger retail investor groups, retail pools to actually participate in ownership of NFTs? So imagine you have an art piece from a gallery, like maybe a very unique piece that is only in a gallery, and you can get your digital picture frame, you can put it into your living room, and you can be a proud owner of maybe 3 pieces of this in the world. Or you can say one of these pieces we fractionalize to 1,000 and essentially sell 1,000 of those to 1,000 individuals for, let's say, $100 each instead of 100,000 to one individual. And then many people can actually own part of this and can be a proud owner of 1,000 people in the whole world owning part of this NFT. While also giving museums, specifically in the times of crisis like now, a new business model to monetize, but also promote historical art or modern art or whatever it is, right? The same goes, of course, for watches or any kind of other goods that could be potentially represented by a digital NFT. So that's currently what we are seeing. We are also thinking about different aspects of what to further do, like with regards to transaction fees, or maybe even one idea that we had currently is saying, what if in an NFT auction, every participant will actually benefit from it so that we can increase participation. So imagine if an NFT piece is sold, then most of the revenue will go, of course, to the artist or to the seller, but some of it will go to the marketplace. But what if some of it would go back to everyone who actually participated? Right, so if 10 or 20% of the revenue of a sale will actually go back to everyone who participated in the bidding process, that could also be interesting. And that's something which is much easier to do if you do digital kind of auctions, which can be fully traced through to blockchain technology behind it, right? That Ocean and Casper are providing. And then there's other aspects I think in the future that we're currently looking at. But this gives you a very brief overview of our current thinking. We're still finalizing it, and of course, for the first version, we want to try to keep it as simple as possible to reduce friction for understanding and also user experience, the trend described, which I think is really crucial here, to make this as simple as possible. Yeah, but I think I'm happy to answer any further questions later on. But that's what we're currently thinking. But you will get more extensive information once we have made final decisions together with the team. But I hope this gave you a good overview for now. I think you're muted, Carlos.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Simon. Absolutely. That was a very good summary on where we are going. One recurring question, which is also a risk management issue, is that if I buy, a $5 million, $10 million NFT on any platform, including all platform, how I can be sure, because an NFT might be for lifetime, might be over generation. I can donate my NFT to my family. Is an asset. How can I be sure that an asset is going to be always there in that website? The website might go down. The company might be belly up. What is the, is any escrow facility? Maybe Chris, this is more for you. What are the reassurances that we can give, and actually we are giving as a WISeKey to NFT investors, that if they buy the NFT is going to be there regardless what could happen? So what is the answer there?
So on the one place, obviously the blockchain is the NFT is stored on the chain, and that means blockchains are designed for permanent storage. But that doesn't mean that they're permanently accessible, because you need obviously your wallet to access it. And there's a way called perma-storage, which will EMP the blockchain at some point. It'll still be alive there.
Very good. Important answer for a very important concern. So one of the things WISeKey likes to do is to do moonshots. So I witnessed, I was in the UN when the web started in Geneva, and that was a moment similar to the one we are living now with NFT, where we started to say, hey, there is a very easy way to connect websites, and if we connect websites, we're going to be able to share content, and that content is going to create more content, and we're going to be able to access the world without the need to worry where the website is or where the data is or having a privileged access. One link, we go everywhere. The NFT is the same thing, right? One link, and we are in the art world. But not only, we are also, IBM has announced NFTs on intellectual property. We are talking, I got several very leading architectural firms architects, and they contacted us, say, what about if I have done a $25 million design of a house of the future, you know, with all the newest specifications, but I have done it as a design. What about if I do an NFT of that design, and whoever buys that NFT have the right to build the house? So you're reversing the model, right? This is you do first acquire the NFT with all the intellectual property, and then whoever buys that has the legal right to do the house. Who says a house, says a building, says a smart city, says a factory of the future, says anything, right? So many new applications, and I think, and I give the floor now to Julian. We also thought about the space. The space is the last frontier. Is a way to decentralize everything, because a lot of the interactions of humans are done in areas where there is no internet, the sea, developing countries, the jungle, the polar facilities. So how can we attach this industry or satellite industry with NFTs and identities, and the possibility of in an IoT verification process to make sure that that object corresponds to that identity? Julian, what are you doing yourself, and also now with hosting WISeKey will be a great of interest for everybody.
It's a good point to bring up in this context. I'll give a bit of introduction over the space industry and how this links. Traditionally, space has been a very complex market to get into. You have very, very large investments to launch a satellite, very large companies, Airbus, Thales Alenia. You have very large corporations or military groups and governments which were able to access space, and this has set a huge barrier for people able to use space, because up until now, if you wanted to launch a satellite, you had to pay a huge amount and wait several years. And so one trend which we observed over the last decade, 2 decades, is how we have an exponentially increased number of connected devices, and the predictions are insane. We're going to have billions and billions of IoT connected devices in the future, because it's inevitable. Data is driving our world, and we need to stay connected to collect and analyze this data. And one problem which we're having now is we're generating a lot of data, but we don't have efficient ways to collect it and then to analyze it, which is a bit more where Chris will come in regarding AI. But with regards to data collection, one problem we have in the world is a large majority of our world is not connected. Even backhaul networks like 2G and GSM don't reach every part of the world, and you have huge spots uncovered, such as in the maritime industry, in third world countries. There's a very big limitation for connectivity. And so space is actually a very, very efficient and inexpensive way to set up distributed networks of space-based cell phone towers, if you want to put it that way. A network of satellites which will connect to ground-based nodes, ground-based sensors, any sort of ground-based devices within a network. So there's several aspects to consider as to how we can potentially use satellites in this area of interest in NFTs. The first and the one which we've been initially working with WISeKey is regarding basic communications, but bringing the encryption and the secure aspect of WISeKey with their semiconductors, with their end-to-end encryption, which is able to be used to carry out, any sort of communications the same way when you're purchasing an NFT, or you're dealing in a marketplace. In the end, you're carrying communications online. But one thing which we've been exploring with WISeKey is how we can bring the decentralization of the blockchain to the satellites, and how we can actually use the satellites within the ecosystem to authentify objects on the ground. And in fact, this is one of the projects which maybe Carlos can discuss too, that we've been doing with some watchmakers and in the watch industry, but that really could go to any sort of industries, on how these satellites can connect to objects. So we use very low power, long range modulation, which allows any sort of nodes on the ground to communicate via satellites with a battery for several years. And these are very short messages, they're IoT messages, but they're large enough to carry a key which can be either transferred or generated at one at the ends, both on the satellite as on the ground. And so this allows any sort of devices to be injected with a key and to carry out a telecommunications, to carry out a connection without the need of large infrastructure. And these are very small nodes. We're talking around 5 by 5 by 2 centimeters, very small devices, which anywhere in the world could be connected. And again, this can be in NFTs or it can be in tracking devices. Imagine you have a container ship and you have a container and you want to verify the authenticity of this container and data regarding the status of this container anywhere in the world. So I think it's really adding a physical connectivity layer to this, where not only you have all the backend and the software and the parts which I'm not that much of an expert in, but you're also bringing the decentralization to the full network itself. And this is something which I think has huge potential. And in fact, I'm happy to be working with WISeKey on this area.
Absolutely, and we also very happy and honored working with you, Julian, and your team. Again, the vision is what Julian is saying. We are connecting 1 trillion objects to the internet by the year 2030. So what you need for connecting an object, you need an identity, because the object has to have a birth certificate, which currently is not. It's only a serial number, which is added by the manufacturer, and this is not good enough. Look what is happening with the 5G issues with Chinese companies, and they say, hey, but your certificate is Chinese, I don't want to trust you. So you need a universal identity, which is not owned by any country in particular. It is agnostic to everything, and that's what WISeKey does. Then you need a microchip, because you have to store that identity somewhere, right, in order to power that object, which is what we do as well with the cryptographic chips, the security elements that we do. And then traditionally we validated that identity all the way up to our servers. That was the old model. Now we do it through the ledger, decentralized ledger on the blockchain. And the new dimension now is what about at the same time that we validate, because we have to validate every second, what about if we issue systematically an NFT for every object that has an identity? So this is not anymore a piece of painting and doing an NFT of the painting. This is 1 trillion objects issuing 1 trillion NFTs. And those NFTs will have embedded all the origins of the object, all the documentation that object needs to be traded. Let's say that you are in a container, when you reach a port, all the custom documentation, the insurance documentation, the freight forwarded documentation, all that ownership, legacy, and origin of the documents will be actually digitally signed and embedded into the NFT. So when the NFT reaches the final destination, executes through a smart contract, and the transaction is done. So you are solving the logistical consequence of the 4th industrial revolution here. So this is beyond art, it's beyond everything. And that's why you need to have cybersecurity companies with a very strong DNA on security, because that's what it's all about. You know, if you are able to compromise that infrastructure, everything will collapse, right? And this is the big opportunity here with you guys, is that we build that together, right? So, and again, I like always to push the envelope as much as I can in terms of the vision. I would like also to Chris to explain you something which has been slowly demonstrated and discussed in different Zooms, but I would like him to give you a bit more color on that, which is a knowledge token. Can we tokenize knowledge, and can we create NFTs on knowledge? He's an expert on AI, and AI is all about knowledge. Maybe Chris, if you can give us some views on that, that would be great.
And this is the future, right? I've already put this in the Q&A because someone asked, what if I could tokenize myself? And I answered, what about if you could tokenize your experience? Meaning, you know, let's take something basic that everybody knows, right? You tokenize the fact that if you see a tiger in the jungle, you go and run in order to survive, right? If everybody who had that token would pay you a bit of money and would thus survive tigers in the jungle, that would be a complete win-win situation. Now, if we roll this out to the world of business, right? The question, I cannot earn more money if I am not present. or if I go through a painful process, which is writing a software, creating a company, and so on, that limits talent a lot today, and we don't have enough experience and talent in the world. And everybody has experience that is worth sharing, and depending on where it can be applied, it actually makes sense. So that is something that we're thinking about and putting out there. If I can tokenize your experience, I could give that experience to an artificial intelligence and make the AI reuse your experience in the context where you don't have to be present, but where you would be paid every time you contribute to a solution, right? That is truly moving away from an industrial society where you're paid for being present somewhere to a society where you're being paid for having experience. And I hope this would get us back to being more curious people again.
So excellent idea. Excellent idea.
So maybe as we have now maybe another 20 minutes, I would like just to invite the questions to keep coming, so we can answer as many as we can. I also thank you, the participant, because you're answering many of the questions also online as well. And maybe go back to you, Shona, because I think the end user experience is so important. What will be your recommendation to us as developers? What we need to take into consideration to really satisfy this need of the art community? What are their concerns? Did we answer the concerns in this event, or do you think there are other things that we need to know in order to adapt as much as possible to the concrete reality that is in this field, and you know so well?
Carlos, I think that's such an important question and a difficult question to answer. I'm very concerned about those with access and what that means in terms of societal groups of people, and the further potentiality of dividing people via access. So if I happen to live in the United States and I happen to be educated and I happen to be possibly white and I have wonderful computing tools in front of me and I can go to the local Best Buy to obtain them, or I can go to Amazon and buy them, I have a great deal of access. And if I can call Chris or Sebastian or Julian, I have even more access. So that the component about the knowledge that Chris touched on earlier, and the possibility of using AI in terms of experience, I would much rather see applied in terms of education. The amount of time and effort that's required to ramp up to a very quickly changing scope and environment is astronomical, as we all know on this panel. And many of the participants, I'm sure, can share in that sentiment. But we have the interest and the curiosity to pursue it. And we're gifted with that curiosity, that natural curiosity. And that's not the case for a great number of people. So I think to be thinking ahead of time in terms of how are we going to bridge that divide, that digital divide, in terms of education and access? How are we going to address communities of people that don't have the wherewithal to navigate this space, or even the wherewithal to contemplate the future implications? I think is a very serious business. And I hope that we all move to that direction as much as possible. How we get there, I'm not quite sure I have a roadmap for yet, but certainly, even in terms, if I could just add quickly, even in terms of literacy, in terms of financial literacy, I could know how to mint and tokenize an NFT, and I could be very good at it. But if I don't understand the core concepts of DeFi or cryptocurrency, then I'm minting and tokenizing something on a day when Ether is at 13,000, when I could be minting and tokenizing on a day when Ether is 68,000. So I think those two pieces really do go hand in hand. The financial literacy, the technology literacy, and then also the literacy in terms of how do we use this for human growth overall.
Thank you very much. I think is a very interesting point on the financial literacy, because that's what Simon just raised before, right? I mean, this is very new for a lot of people. Everybody is excited because the gains has been so phenomenal on I remember when Bitcoin was at the beginning, where we were talking in Davos, and you know, and nobody realized, and I mean, some people did realize, so not everybody, about the potential here. So yes, absolutely. I want to ask you one of the questions that I mean, again, we are projecting in this webinar the future in terms of how big this could be. Happened in the year 2000, just again with the websites, they immediately exploded, and then Google emerged as the winner because he was the only one able to index all that, right, and give you. What is the kill app here? I mean, what is going to be the thing that will make this, again, a revolutionary phase on the technology environment, and how your blockchain can scale up, because scaling is very important. I mean, if we're going to talking about connecting 1 trillion objects to the blockchain, is your blockchain ready to cope with that? I mean, what keeps you alerted towards the potential exponential growth of this technology?
Yeah, I think those are very very relevant questions, and you know, as technology is now changing, and a bit connects with, you know, Shauna's earlier point as well. Like when you mentioned that, you know, Ethereum could be as volatile that it can be changing and 200% in a day. Real worlds, when they come to do businesses, they need stability, they need predictability. They want to know what is my cost of doing business, right? And that's kind of talks to, you know, how do we stabilize, how do we make it predictable for real world businesses to come to this blockchain technology and start using it in a manner that that helps them do their business. So one of the things, Carlos, that Casper has been, you know, thinking about from the very inception is we want to make a blockchain technology that helps enterprises grow on and start using blockchain technology. So we have kept that in mind. We have thought about making a very predictable, stable, you know, gas model. So that's, for example, one important aspect of making sure that more and more enterprises come and access the technology. Proof of stake technology, you know, by very design, is much more scalable as compared to you know, the current technology of proof of work that we are using. So that at a technology layer, we are solving the problem of scaling. But of course, going to trillions of devices is something, a different challenge. We need to think together as to how do we do trillions of devices, right? There needs to be some understanding of how technologies can merge, how we can merge offline and online together, and that is something that Casper has been solving as well. You know, you talked about the patent marketplace. So we have actually, you know, a real world example now where we have kind of merged offline and online together in a way that it's more scalable. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect, which we did not talk about it here, is energy consumption and making it environmentally friendly, right? If you compare the Bitcoin and Ethereum with the new technology of Casper, the energy consumption in itself is, you know, the efficiency that we are getting by using proof of stake technology at Casper is phenomenal. If I give you the numbers, Bitcoin uses something like 95 trillion watt per year. Ethereum is in the range of 200,000, whereas Casper technology with the current 100 nodes, with much better scalability and much higher throughput, is 0.000175. So Bitcoin is like more than 500,000 times more, you know, costly in terms of energy to use. It's just as a data point, right? So if we are scaling up and using, you know, trillions of devices, we need to keep these real issues in mind. What would be the energy consumption? how many transactions, how can we really use it? And I think a technology like Casper is really going to be helpful in solving these challenges. So we have to make that mind shift now, and I'm seeing that because, the number of enterprises that are coming to Casper to discuss use of NFTs and in their real world use cases, supply chain, data management, and art, as you're saying, is phenomenal.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Actually, you framed a question I wanted to ask you guys about the energy consumption, as there's a lot of debate about that. I mean, one of the things, the way to see that is how much do the analog financial world uses in terms of energy to maintain banks, data centers, traders, stock exchanges, and if you calculate that energy consumption against what's going to be the replacement, right, on the digital economy,
yep.
you might be actually saving a lot of money and a lot of energy. But this is an interesting discussion,
yes,
which needs to be taken very seriously, as we don't have more margin of error there in that industry. Obviously, the innovation needs to happen.
And just one comment.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just one quick comment on what Shona mentioned in terms of access, right? As we see that the technology becomes more and more easy to use, the access kind of liberates. There is, of course, I get your point that there is a focused intervention required in terms of educating, and particularly those who don't have quick access. But if we think about it, a painting like Mona Lisa kept in Louvre, how many people can access it, right? As against that, now you have an NFT, or I mean, the access grows with the use of technology. It's just that we have to be conscious of your point that not everybody has the same level of access, and how can we make it even?
Yeah. Again, this is a very important point on the what you say about Mona Lisa, the art, is that I was talking the other day, a very famous digital artist, and said to me, when somebody will buy my NFT, the technology, the future technology will allow that NFT to be represented in so many different ways. I could, for instance, create a 3D hologram in the middle of my living room of future technology, which is not yet there, because I own the digital right of that technology, right? So that's the beauty of NFT. We are at the beginning of unleashing the potential this new technology has. So if you acquire the rights, you're also acquiring the future rights. Trend about scalability and the Internet of Things, and how this world is going to catch with the other. Your views are important there too.
Yeah, actually, that wasn't going to be my comment. Definitely, the scalability is coming, right? I mean, there's been a lot of discussion and work over the years, and I think the thing that really has finally broken through is people realizing that EVM is very useful, and it's a very, it's getting adopted then with many chains. So it's really great to see Casper and other chains going the EVM route. While at the same time, things like WASM, et cetera, are going along. So different sorts of virtual machines for different things. What I did want to focus on actually was some of the discussion around digital versus physical. And I want to sort of equip the audience with a mental model that helps to unify this and tie in questions around intellectual property. Here's the mental model. Ownership is access control, whether physical or mental. So I'll give an example here. So if you go and buy a painting, you walk into a gallery, you pay the gallerist, $500, $5,000. He gives you the painting, you walk out, right? And then basically, if you hold it, you own it, right? That's how it works. Same thing for a $100 bill or whatever. So ownership of real world objects is defined through physical access control. And this is real benefits. It's a simple mental model. It protects the owner. Transfer of ownership is easy, right? Traditionally, we haven't had these same benefits for intangible assets. So a couple hundred years ago, we had things like copyright law invented, as well as patents and trademarks, all around intellectual property, right? And intellectual property is a whole set of tools, including laws and language, to help give legal protection to creators of these assets, as well as collectors of these assets, whether you're buying a book or whether you're the author of the book. So the legals has been the way to protect this, and it's been via sort of this wet code legals that people draw up, and then created by the World Intellectual Property Association, and then implemented by various countries around the world over the years, and it keeps evolving, of course, too. But this wet code type way to view the world is tedious to understand, expensive, slow, error prone, right? You probably have to read a 100-page document sometimes to own it. It's okay in that it helps to protect the creators and the collectors, but the question is, can we do better, right? And then if you think about Bitcoin, right, it's sort of this dry code, machine readable approach to electronic money, right? Blockchain is the basis. And like real world assets, here's the key thing. Now, ownership of digital assets is defined through access control. So there's the phrase in Bitcoin land, your keys, your Bitcoin, right? So by doing that, you're getting the benefits of real world assets. Simple mental model protects the owner, easy transfer of ownership. It's cheaper, faster, less error prone than the wet code approaches, right? So just like, and this extends not just to Bitcoin, but to other digital assets, your keys, your NFTs, right? So this is very powerful because now this all can be summarized once again as ownership of physical or digital objects is defined through access control. So that's kind of the heart. If you can access it, you own it. That's the default. Sure, you can have contracts that veer off, but this greatly simplifies. So overall, I'm very excited by this because we can now use the same mental models, whether digital or physical, especially because we have nice token standards like ERC 721 for non-fungible tokens. And what's cool, we can even now take these digital tools and pull them back to physical to help augment provenance, et cetera, like WISeKey is doing with ERC 721 with the physical chips. So it's all about access control in the end. You know, your key, your NFT.
Totally. That's why we call ourselves WISeKey. It's all about the key. But by the way, one interesting thing I learned during these months of NFT and talking to a lot of people is that the new generation, I mean, millennials and the new generations ahead of that, they are paying less value to physical objects, to own a physical object. In my generation, owning a Ferrari and a watch, that was a big thing, right? In this current generation, you know, actually we had a very interesting feedback from the watch industry where young people say, no, I only want to buy the NFT. I don't want to buy the original. And actually we were surprised because, you know, the NFT was $80,000. And they said, why are you not going to buy the original? And they said, because the original is actually putting pressure in the sustainability world, right? You have to find diamonds and gold and platinum. You have to kill animals to make the wrist in crocodile. And we don't need all that. We just need to have the ownership of the digital, because I want to show to my girlfriend or to my father, or to my mother, to my boyfriend that I own that digital part, and that digital part is good enough. So that is that obviously is a paradigm shift, right? Where people are going to pay less importance to own physical objects, and they are going to actually prefer to own digital objects. From the design manufacturing world, it's actually very interesting too, because I talked to some watch manufacturers and they say, okay, that actually, when we design a watch, we start with a piece of paper. So that piece of paper now can go directly to the digital world without going to the product. So that means that you can create an NFT with a next generation watch, on where the products like gold, diamonds, and design are not going to be the limitation anymore. You can use time stamping, nuclear watches. I mean, you can create all this kind of mechanism, quantum technology that will power the watch of the future, which will never be a product. So this new dimension of everything digital is actually very, very, very interesting and part of the revolution of the NFT. So we are reaching the end of the webinar. I just want to, maybe as a closing remark, which is normally what I like to do, is just each of you, just few remarks, for closing remarks about how you see this going, and what are your impressions about it. You know, just 2 minutes each, and then we close, and as we are getting nearly 1 hour and a half. So I start with Ashok, and then I will keep telling you the names of the person. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thanks a lot. It has been a pleasure to be part of this incredibly talented group of people discussing, the future of technology. I totally agree with what we have understood as that we are sitting on an inflection point at this point in time of more and more NFT and getting into the ecosystem, and we are actually breaking through the barriers right now and getting more different asset classes and users to create an ecosystem that's going to be incredibly useful for for all of us. That's certainly what I see. I am glad that Casper is playing a role in this revolution with the new technology that we are bringing in, with predictable and stable gas fees, a more energy efficient blockchain, and a smart contracting platform that has incredibly good number of features which enterprises can use. We are working with great people, partners like WISeKey to bring this technology, and I'm really happy to be here at this point in time, contributing to this revolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashok. We really appreciate your support as well. Simon.
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity today. I'm looking really forward to building this out together. And I think what I really like is I think I would consider Switzerland as part of Europe. And I think that the European mindset and values and bringing those to a marketplace like this, I think is very something very cool and novel that we can do and that we should do, I think. And that's what I also found fascinating about Gdpr, for example. And I'm really looking forward to building something with these European values in mind with the new WISeKey marketplace. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Thank you, Simon. Same for us. Having an expert on cryptocurrency like you is a great asset for us. So thank you for your participation. Sebastian.
Yes, for me it was really interesting because I'm learning a lot of things from different perspectives. I think you should invest in it. I will invest in it because I'm sure it will work. Now it's time to be confident about technology. The law will follow as usual. It's business as usual. Law will always follow. I'm not afraid of what should happen because the people who are working with these technologies, they cannot afford to take any risk about something that could be bad, because with the bad buzz now, you're losing your company as soon as you have created. So I think we should be confident, really attentive and focused on the different places where it grows up, and we should find solutions that are practicable and that are not solutions of lawyers and of people who live only in theory. We need to find solutions that are simple, because if it's not simple, the people, they won't go forward with these technologies, they won't invest. And in the end, we want everyone who has some talent to earn his life with these talents. That's the end of the game. And if I can earn a lot of money without being able to make an exposition because you're painting colors, it's difficult for some people to pay for this. And if they can have another solution, I will be happy for all these people who can be well known by all the world. It's like when with music, it has begun to be possible to share your creations. I think we should find a framework that is light framework. Go ahead with technology, and I'm really confident that the law will afford a lot of things with this technology.
Thank you, Sebastian. We will look forward to continue working with you, especially also on the legislation part. I think this is going to be a major, especially following the Simon view about Switzerland and Europe playing a major role here. I think the fact that Europe has Gdpr, eIDAS, and many other legislations which are protecting the individual privacy and personal data, all that applies very well to this new universe that we are all discussing here. So it would be great to continue working with you. So Trent, please.
Sure. So given that you had asked for sort of a forward-looking picture of the world, I'll give sort of a two-step process and a bonus step. Step one, tokenize all the things. Tokenize all the data, tokenize all the art, tokenize X, Y, Z. And it's happening. And I see that the WISeKey marketplace can be a very nice step towards this for pulling in a lot of the physical things. And it's really our pleasure in Ocean to help loop this in, leveraging the tools that Ocean has built around not just for decentralized data markets, but more generally decentralized markets with great power. So that's the first thing, tokenize all the things. After that comes to a certain level, people will start to realize the following. It only exists if it's on the blockchain. And that might sound crazy right now, but what is reality, right? What is, everyone has a different perception of the world. So whose perception do you trust? Well, the one thing that if you have a shared understanding of the world, then that's the thing to trust. Where's that shared understanding? Well, how about a global database with 10,000 copies, right? So it only exists if it's on the blockchain. Is going to be a very, very useful concept for all the tokens, for all the identities, etc. And that concept is my good friend Simon de Louvier, co-inventor of ERC20. So I give him credit for that, but I live by it because that is the future. And sort of as the bonus step of step 1, 2, 3, the bonus step is after that, everything's going to get weird. It's going to feel like sci-fi in some ways. So we should all get ready to embrace change that's going to be happening faster and faster and faster. So tokenize all the things. It only exists if it's on the blockchain. Look forward to the weird and fun sci-fi future.
Trent, amazing vision. Absolutely. I would add that and just decentralize data from silos, right? Because that will be a major endeavor as well. The data of the world is on silos. We are in Geneva, has all the major international bodies. We have WHO, we have WIPO, we have ITU, all of them sitting on tons of data, and they never cross-reference data. They never compare the data. They never even made the data available to anybody else than the people working in those organizations. So that is a major endeavor. Move data out of silos and use the blockchain as a decentralizer. Yeah, I think we have Shona now. Your turn, please.
Sure. Well, when we all go to Mars, we will not be taking our cell phones, and we will not be taking any physical items. They will reside in a technological form, maybe on our watch, maybe on a chip that's been embedded in each of us. When we live on Mars, we will pursue the pursuit of beauty, and we will be using AI in order to stabilize infrastructure for a very unstable world. We will look forward to other planets, other universes. We'll continue our space exploration, and all of that will be built on a chain of trust where digital data is concrete and resolute. And I can't wait.
Thank you very much. Beautiful vision, and actually a good opening for Julian. He will help us to achieve that. He's the youngest on all this team and already in space. So, just to tell you a story about Julian. Julian was a teenager, when he was still going to the school, and he created his first Pico satellite out of products that he bought from the internet. So that's how he started to create his own satellite. I mean, this is an amazing inspiration for young people that in our days, everything is possible. You just need to have the willingness and inspiration to do. Julian, the floor is yours.
That's a great opening, Shona, and I think I'll also make a reference to what Trent was saying. Decentralize all the things. I mentioned this before, but we've decentralized the blockchains in the management and the storage level. And I said this before, but let's also decentralize the physical layer, the layer which allows us to access the blockchain and to use the blockchain. And I think that's going to be critical in the future to allow everyone to be able to use the blockchain, since right now we still have the limitation of needing access to the internet and the limitations that has. And I think the opportunities with space are really endless. You have a huge space literally open to work in so many areas, in communications, in edge computing. Put your data centers in space, decentralize your data centers. I think there's millions of things which can be done. I don't know exactly where this will go, and really we'll have to see what the market and the future holds for us. But it's a great thing that we're entering at this current stage early on, and we're able to be prepared for the future and for what the market is gonna do. So again, thanks to all the panelists, and it's really an honor for FOSSA for us to be discussing here the future of a lot of things, of society, I would say.
Thank you very much, everybody, for your time and amazing participation. You know, I was, my entire career when I was in the UN and after WISeKey, I was actually decentralized the human identity because I was very concerned that identity cannot be owned by anybody else, by the human itself. I mean, it's our identity, it's who we are, is what we are doing, it's our DNA, it's everything that corresponds to us. Why I want Facebook or Twitter or anybody else to take care of that function is my function, it's my ownership, and it's under my consent. And now with the blockchain, with the decentralization, this vision is becoming reality because now we have the technology that will basically fundament. I remember Tim Berners-Lee's vision was to decentralize the world already 33 years ago. He did not succeed it because the economic forces basically gated the internet. They create those kind of private environments where the data only circulates inside, like those social media platforms and other. We are in the generation of undoing that and putting back again the control into the person. And by putting the control into the person under its consent, we can tokenize everything and we can decentralize everything. So maybe this is the beginning, and maybe this webinar in a few years' time will be viewed as the beginning of that movement. So thank you, everybody, for your attention. Thank you for the 100 and something participants and Cape, cope with us for nearly 1 hour, more than 1 hour and 40 minutes. I know those Zooms are very long, and I apologize for being that long. But I think the subject is fascinating, and I think we have an amazing team here with us, so it was worth to stay with us. So thank you very much, and we will convene again. I think the platform is going to be launched in 2 weeks. The cryptocurrency as well will be launched around the same time, maybe a bit more. Anyway, by the end of June, we should be ready. And it will be a good time to give the a progress report and demonstrate it that this is working and that we are at the beginning of tokenizing the world through NFT. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for your attention.
Thank you, Carlos.
Great to have you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Yes, the webinar has ended. I'm gonna click out of this real quick here. Yes, WISeKey. So pumped. That is super cool. So check this out. Yes, the platform is coming by the end of June, including Trusty Coin. The WISeKey, it's gonna be their digital currency. And then talking about tokenizing the NFTs on the blockchain. They work with Casper Labs. Casper, they was talking about how they are bringing a whole new meaning to blockchain, because they're basically saying that they're going to take and they have a better scalability and on their blockchain that uses less energy than current blockchains, and how that they could do basically. The whole blockchain, the whole, crypto, everything, all in a more efficient way. So I think that's absolutely huge. That's huge. I think WISeKey is going to end up exploding. And to think of this, they were talking about bringing the blockchain NFT to satellites in space, like to basically get better access to everybody, which is just. It's just epic. I don't know. It's just absolutely epic. I think it's in my personal opinion. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but I think it's a great investment. I think they're doing a lot of great things that could lead to the future. Talking about taking things and that their research is showing that people want digitized items. They don't want physical things. They just want it to be digitized. They just want to be able to show they have proof of ownership. That's it. That's it. So I think that's. I mean, you can't beat it. It's epic. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for checking out this WISeKey live NFT webinar on this Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. I want to thank you each and every one of you for joining and watching, following along. I want you to go ahead and jump into the other stream. I will be there in just a few minutes, so just if you want to flip over, hang in there. I'll be on there going live. We'll get into the markets on this Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Got a lot to talk about. Got AMC to talk about and a few others, GameStop and maybe a little Airbnb. I'll talk about that here at HOFE as well. Coming up in just a few minutes. I'll see you in the other stream. Until then, make sure you hit that like button, and if you haven't subbed yet, hit that sub button. I'll see you. Corey out for this stream. See you in the other one. Bye.